Are you looking for the best way for podcast listeners to support podcasters? I think you'll be interested in Glow. At Podcast Movement 2019, I'm Daniel J. Lewis from the Audacity to Podcast.com with Amira from Glow. And Amira, tell me about Glow.
Thanks. Thanks for doing this interview. So I started Glow after I was a local news podcaster and I'd gotten a good audience and I wanted to build a local news media company, and I had this sort of business plan laid out where I wanted to paywall the podcast content, I wanted to build a newsletter, and I went to go build the tech, and I knew the business was possible, but I had no idea how I could actually charge people for content. It was just really hard to stitch things together. And so we built Glow. And the dream for Glow is to make it as easy as possible for media entrepreneurs to actually create sustainable businesses. And we started with building the easiest way for listeners to pay podcasters directly. And so we're built by and for podcasters. Our solution is built for podcasting first. It brands the podcaster. And it can either be listeners paying podcasters directly for contributions or paywalled content. It can be subscriptions or a one-time donation or payment.
Now, since you said specifically for podcasters, and we're not able to really show a screen, but what really makes this for podcasters specifically? What would you say are some of the unique selling points there for podcasters?
Yeah, so it's basically developed so that a few things happen. One is it's meant to work cross-platform in a ton of different podcasting apps. So the way it works is that a listener would hear the call to action. Maybe they're listening in Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts. They click on a link in the show notes. A web view pops up, but they don't realize they're actually leaving the app oftentimes. They click to pay with Apple or Google Pay, so super seamless checkout. They don't have to create a login. And then for paywalled content, they're taken to a list of podcast players. Let's say they're choosing Apple Podcasts. They click that player, and then they're auto-subscribed to that premium feed in their player of choice. So everything's optimized for mobile. It's optimized for really quick, something that you do while you're listening that doesn't take a ton of time.
I love that. None of this stuff like go to this other third-party site, create another account, add your payment information, copy this RSS feed, paste it into your app. None of that manual stuff. It's so built in, so streamlined, and the workflow is just all instant from, how long would it take someone from tapping that button to then being subscribed to premium content?
Yeah, it takes less than 30 seconds. And so it's something you can easily do while you're like walking down the street or on the bus or whatever. You don't have to take out your credit card if you have Apple or Google Pay set up. It's really seamless.
It is extremely amazing. Just a few taps, really. And I like that you're integrated with Apple Pay. So already you've seen how this is different from the competitors out there who are serving not only podcasters, but many other content creators. You're focused in on podcasters.
That's right.
So one of the big questions I'm sure podcasters will be wondering is, how much does this cost?
Yeah, absolutely. So the model is a take rate. So it's nothing to start. We only make money when you make money as the podcaster. If it's a donation-based model, it's 12%. If it's premium content, it's 20%. That's inclusive of fees. So what that means is that we're eating the credit card fees. So for example, for a 12% donation-based model, a $5 a month transaction, that means that the Stripe fees or the credit card fees end up equaling about 9% because there's a flat transaction fee, and we take 3%. So we will eat the entire credit card fees for you and make sure that you are optimizing around what's best for you. No hidden transaction, no worrying about credit card fees at the back end. What you think you're paying is what you know you're paying.
So in addition to premium content like bonus episodes or ad-free episodes or anything like that, what other kind of benefits could a podcaster deliver to their supporting audience?
Yeah, part of the fun thing about Glow is we've seen all kinds of things be worked out. And so some people are offering, for example, access to a community. So maybe like a Slack channel or a Discord channel so they can talk to the audience. Others are sort of putting together merch solutions, and we're working together with it. We're working or thinking about a partnership with merch, but some podcasters are figuring it out themselves, maybe offering a coffee tumbler or a t-shirt to people who subscribe, or maybe a personalized newsletter, a note from the podcaster themselves, or even episode transcripts. So maybe someone starts paying you a certain amount and the show notes and the transcripts are really valuable, emailing those directly. Those are all things that we've seen, and there are all kinds of different solutions being put together to offer all those.
Great. So we can go to glow.fm.
That's right, glow.fm.
Or I'll have the information and more in the links below this video or at theaudacitypodcast.com/pm19/glow.
Awesome.
Amira, thank you very much for your time. And what would you say is one thing a podcaster could do to encourage the support from their audience using Glow?
Absolutely. The number one thing we see from podcasters is we just need them to ask. So a lot of podcasters, maybe they leave the call to action at the end or they're sheepish about it. No, it's totally worthwhile to be up front and say, this is how much I spend on the podcast every week, or how much time and money I spend on the podcast every week. To put that call to action up front and to tell them if you want to support the show or if you want access to more of this, you can just go to the link in the show notes and pay really easily. So put the call to action up front. Double down on sort of emphasizing the value that they're getting from the show, and really don't be sheepish, be upfront about sort of the value that they're getting. And we actually have a list of tips for best practices for call to action on our website. So if people want to check that out, then go to glow.fm and click on support and resources, and we're happy to coach through that.
Fantastic. So go to theaudacitypodcast.com/pm19/glow. I'll have all these links for you, more information, and also below this video. So for Amira from Glow, I'm Daniel J. Lewis from theaudacitypodcast.com. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.